Hi, I want to talk about the not so humble running stitch. And I'm calling it that because I think a lot of people think running stitch is cheating, and to do embroidery you need to do something really fancy and you need lots of skills that you don't necessarily have to start with, but actually starting with running stitch is fine. Some people never really move on from it. So I'm going to show you a bit of my work, talk about the history of inspiration of things like Sashiko, Cantha, hand quilting, and join me for my musings. So this whole quilt I did is inspired by Sashiko, hand quilting and Cantha. Cantha is the Indian technique of patchwork saris with a big running stitch to hold them together. It's very simple, it's very straightforward. You'll see now there's a huge trend for taking these old-fashioned Cantha quilts and turning them into jackets and things like that. You go on Toastore, there are lots of individuals doing it on Etsy, building clothes out of it. So they're a very durable way of using up scrap materials. The same is said with the Japanese approach to Boro, which I've got a lovely Susan Briscoe book here. Patchwork with simple running stitch on in geometric shapes to make scraps of material stronger, more durable. It is as old as the hills. It's probably as old as mankind was sewing furs together to keep them warm round the campfire. So what I want to show you is that running stitch doesn't have to be boring, and it isn't just for sewing seams. This again is a picture taken from Susan's book, and you can see that if you use running stitch to really good effect to get this patchwork together and get a really good effect. Her big thing is Sashiko, and this is the Bible of Sashiko for Brits at any rate, probably Americans. And as you can see, I've got a lot of tabs in it. Ultimate Sashiko book. It's a silent I believe. So we look in here, I tried to find a big picture. Can you see that that is just running stitch in geometric patterns? This bit here, just running stitch. It can be so effective, so durable. The trick is not to get the stitch length too long. And then which is the other one I've got in here to show you, because they're all sorts of different patterns. Can you see how amazing that has been used on clothing? That is running stitch. Sashiko is very precise. You draw out with templates, you do all sorts of stuff, but actually it's it can be brilliant, so effective. Use the clothes, do all sorts of wonderful things. There are dozens and dozens of patterns traditionally. Now I am an engineer. I spent my education drawing graphs. I love a bit of a graph and I love a bit of geometry, and as an aside, I'd love to do some of those traditional Islamic art type of things where you use compasses and everything. One day I'll do that. But here you can see again, I've just played with simple running stitch and a bit of cross stitch. So you can be really precise, really fun, do amazing shapes and optical illusions really, or you can just sew and doodle. That's one type of stitch in one colour. And this is a whole single bedspread quilt. I'll just show you a bit where I've mainly gone running stitch. Bit of a Sashiko template there. Can you see? Just done random running stitches on most of it. Here again, I just took different areas and played with them. Now this effectively is the tablecloth that comes to a lot of my mindful stitching classes with me and the community events I do in the parks, just to show people that that is okay. That is embroidery. The pulling of the needle through thread is enough to give you the relaxation that you get with embroidery. You don't need special time, special equipment, special places. Just sit and do this. And it doesn't have to be anything, it's about the process. Now if I get back to what I was going to talk about with quilting and how simple and effective it can be. This inspired by Sashiko and just random doodles in thread. This is my mindful stitching. But effectively it's a hand quilt. I've used a sandwich of material with a bit of cotton wadding in, and I've hand quilted quilting is more Western in some ways, but Boro in many ways is quilting, Canthor's quilting. But if you think of the American quilt world, that's huge, and a lot of the hand quilting is running stitch in fancy patterns. This is a quilt. The history of running stitch is forever. It is not cheating. It doesn't have to be precise. My approach to Sashiko is a lot less precise because actually I want it to be more organic. I want to bring more colours in. I want to play with things, and that's fine. Different people have different things, so mine is sort of my take on Sashiko. Now I keep holding this bit up. I actually did this bit this week. Can you see? It's layered running stitch. Get my head out of the way. Just layers and layers of it. I think it's 8 layers in 2 directions in 3 colours. And that is just building up. And look, it's almost like an optical illusion. I wanted to do something in front of the telly. And I did this. I thought I'll just see how I can layer it. I didn't think of wanting to do something precise. I was tired, but I just needed to stitch. And this is what it came to. And actually I really like it. It's sort of a bit like hundreds and thousands, or sprinkles if you're American. So what we're talking is running stitch is not cheating. Running stitch is embroidery. You can start with it, you can move on, you can stay with it. What's the difference between staying with running stitch or doing cross stitch forever? Same diff, really. You can develop, and you can go back to it and do it as a palette cleanser between parts. So yes, inspired by Sashiko, inspired by Canthor, inspired by quilting traditions. All of it is valuable, and running stitch is not boring, it's not cheating, and it's incredibly effective. Any questions? DM me, put something in the comments, like and subscribe. I'm wanting to do more about the history of embroidery and how it inspires me. So let me know what you think and what you might like me to talk about. Thanks for watching.